All right, welcome to another week of Ether Raids. We are now in Astra season. We are getting going with the Lin team. Apparently, looks like I've joined the dark side here because I have no excuses. It was fun last week. I'm not gonna lie. It was actually, well, not last week, the week before. It was actually kind of fun to use this team. So I didn't scrap it. So yeah, we're just gonna keep it going and see how this pans out. We'll stop whenever it stops working for us, and it's been working so far. I mean, for the times that I used it the previous Astra season, Anima Astra season, it was pretty good. So we're just gonna run it, and also there really isn't anything here that can really get to us aside from the range units. So once I get rid of them, which is like 1, 2, 3 charge from Chloe, and then Mirabilis, definitely need to get rid of her, which we're going to do on the first turn. But once we get those units off the board, it should be pretty much smooth sailing. Really just calculated sniping. That's what this is going to boil down to. I was actually trying to think if I could get Emblem Celica on this team in some capacity, but I don't know if it's going to work out. I'd probably have to give her the Sigurd ring, just for the mobility, but then I'd also not want her to get into too many I don't know. I'm not sure if it would actually work. But yeah, so that's why Crom is here as well. But yeah, let's get this going. Here we go. We've joined the dark side. This is evil Asher, apparently. And we're just getting rid of the dancer who has the most mobility. The ice, I don't know if it'll really play a factor, but we're going to lose our healing tower, which is fine. And we're going to take some chip damage from Duma, and then we'll pick off the rest from there. Last light dark season was ridiculously fun. Ultimately, I was kind of surprised that I didn't get to use the Ike team as much as I thought I would have. I kind of planned it out around, coming up against like melee frontliners or some type of range tank team that he would just go in and kind of clear house, but it didn't really pan out that way. A lot of the maps that I came up across were like a lot of Loki, which is not the greatest thing for him, in particular Desert Ike, Midriff Ike. He does not enjoy fighting Loki in her Midriff. So I don't know, it just didn't work out. Ended up scrapping the team on the last day because Yunaka, of course. Don't think I'm going to use Yunaka this week, but then I realized that next week is Chaos season, so I don't know. I feel like I want to keep Yunaka in light season, because I feel like, I don't know. Well, there's no Fatal Smoke there, and I think she's going to need Miracle support to really kick off. I feel like that's probably going to be the best spot to use her in. And I also have a free team slot there, so I figured I don't want to waste the Light Blessing that I already used. Is really the reason behind it. But yeah, no Yunaka content for a while, unfortunately. Maybe next week in Chaos season, there'll be some stuff. We can see what we can do there, but yeah, nothing for this week. Let's see what else. This is pretty much going how I expected it to go. A little bit concerned about what we're gonna do about Robin here, in a tough spot, kinda. But I'm sure that we can get it out.
Why not?
Okay, what do we do here? Yeah, I'm sure we can get her off the map. I'm pretty sure. And then once we get her off the map, we can safely retreat and get everything else going. The rest of this week is really going to be towards planning for SDS. I got at least one team down, which is the Sita team, because it's just that good. I've played actually a ton of matches with it the last couple of days. So I'm pretty equipped this season, at least on this particular map. I've got a lot of practice in with the Sita team, so now it's just looking at the other teams that I've built and to see how they function on this map. I built them for a different map, so I don't know exactly how they'll work here on this new map. So I gotta play test them and see how they go. I noticed that I've kind of turned away from Hearthfelger because she as great as she is, she only has one action, and that's a problem for me. So I've kind of turned away from her, and I've lean more towards Dimitri and to some extent Claude, not really for his killing potential, but just because he has that extra action after the Kanto. So I'm kind of leaning towards that more in my playstyle. And then I have a ton of frontliners that I can just throw up there. Alir is definitely one of them. You're going to be seeing him, hopefully, if all goes well this season. It's really crazy that Plumeria gets this. It's really, really crazy. But hopefully, if all goes well this season, there'll be something with Alir. Don't know how much they'll be letting him through. I've kind of also been realizing that I can't ban every team with the bird on there because she's just like everywhere. So I'm going to have to let at least one team with her through because the other teams that I'm currently looking at automatically banning is definitely the tree teams. Tree Man is really annoying, especially because of how my team compositions are. There's at least 2 nukes on every team, so it's kind of annoying to have to figure that out. I don't want to deal with that, so he's an automatic ban. And then, I don't know, whatever else I see that looks threatening. Particularly Rhea is kind of a pain to deal with. Rhea plus Soren has been really tough to get her KOs. Any Soren balls with Rhea, very problematic, but Soren balls in general have been pretty tough, so not looking forward to that. And then also I've been having some trouble with what's her face, Desert Malice, of course, but then also
they will submit.
who else has been a pain? The other Desert Marissa has been a pain to deal with as well. So those are because most of my frontliners are red and she's green, so she gets weapon triangle advantage and she typically does a ton of damage because of the brave hits. So that's something I gotta figure out because you want to run a red frontliner in those situations, but if the opponent bans smartly, you won't have the best matchup there. So gotta be careful for that. But yeah, we have pretty much cleaned house here. Again, this team is actually a ton of fun. Big improvement. Maybe there'll be an emblem style that makes Celica, resurrects her from the dead, but we'll see. Let's play one more. So, I didn't really know where to put this, but I just gotta point this out in terms of the flyers that are here. A lot of them are just not good enough. Like this status debuff, the lull, I mean, for defense, I guess it's okay. This sabotage is everywhere now, and it's you don't need another source of it. I'm mainly making this because of SD, but also it has some consequences for, I guess, Ether raids as well. Outside of the debuffs, Triandra is a pretty good combat unit, I want to say, overall, but just looking at what the flyers in the game currently offer, there just aren't that many that are super great. I'm just going through the list here, and I mean, triangle attack is nice, but I really had to give her a snag because the debuffs are so important in this current meta. The triangle attack just isn't enough for a flyer to offer, and then also she needs Kanto. I didn't even realize how mobility-wise, she is very lacking until recently. It was really just dawning on me that, man, I can't move this unit. She really is just getting stuck a lot, and it's annoying. And then also, Tana here, the warping is great, but again, no debuffs whatsoever. So aside from just offering combat mobility, you'd have to outsource debuffs from someone else, which is great if you're building a team around that, but it's also kind of limited. Roll compression is really important. You really want to whittle things down. This is why I gave her another reason why she has the miasma, because you really want to do a lot of things with one unit, or at least have the potential to cover a lot of bases with one unit, so that you don't have to bring unnecessary units or unusable units, or units that don't offer much aside from their debuffs and their drives and their status effect, which is why, again, Sedith is just so good, because he does so much. You can build him in so many ways that he's just so versatile. Not only can he give out stats, but he can also debuff if you build him in that specific way. So it's kind of just looking at the rest of the flyers, all of them have perf C skills. The majority of them have preferential C skills, and it makes them not that great in terms of providing support. Yes, this Plumeria is great because of Hexblade primarily. There aren't that many sources of that, but just the rest of them going down is like Sita, combat unit through and through. Hearthfulger is a good example of what we're looking at or what we kind of need moving forward, but I really would have loved it if this wasn't in her C skill, because again, even though she has the +1 movement, it's not the greatest thing for armors. They really want a little bit more. They really prefer to have the warping. And I would have loved to be able to swap this out for guidance ultimately. But it's good, but not exactly what we need. It's not everything, man. I'm just, again, going back to Sedith. Peony's aging really, really well. I think her dance is actually still very beneficial. So there's that. Sather here, I wish this was her perf skill was in her A skill or her C skill or something, because guidance, again, for armors in particular, is really what it's boiling down to. She offers a ton. I mean, she does offer the guidance from her dual button, but I want something that's consistent. I don't want to have to pop that just to get it, you know? But overall, they just keep doing us to flyers, and main reason is because they don't have a lot of C skill for flyers to begin with, aside from guidance, so it's an easy option to choose, but I'd prefer it in the B skill for a lot of them. I think Camilla is probably the only one that has a perf B skill as a flyer in her B skill, and it works really well for her because it opens her up to other potential options, but she's just not that great in terms of damage output in the current meta, which is kind of peculiar because her whole thing was to do damage when she came out, but she just doesn't do it anymore. Going back even as far as hell, perf C skill here, unnecessary for her currently because it's just no follow-up in the warping. I guess the warping is great, but you'd really need to invest a ton into hell for her to be good. Ivy, again, probably another great example because it's in her A skill this time, and then also Golveg B skill. A lot of good examples of where you want to put it for a flyer, but having it in the C skill, guidance is so important in every game mode, not just SD, but every game mode. Like, even when I was building a defense, I was just struggling because there are flyers that I just wanted to include, but their C skill was locked up and I couldn't put them in there. Hearthfulger, the New Year's one, would have been so much better if her C skill was free, in terms of just offering that mobility. Yeah, a lot of them just have the C skill locked, and it's really annoying to build around them because they don't offer guidance in any other capacity, and you can't then equip the Soaring Echo onto them to give them that at least guidance to flyers and other units. I don't know, flyers like these two in particular, Mia and this Anna, they're just so selfish, but I just wanted to point that out. I don't know if it really matters. Alright, here's our second match for the day. We're taking on a Hathrun player here, and we're going to go with the same team again because it was such a breeze last time. Let's keep it going. And also, this is the highest scoring team that I have. I've never scored this high with a team, so I'm going to take advantage of it. It is definitely a boon. Not something that I'm used to scoring over 400. So yeah, let's definitely take advantage of this. I was seeing a Thor in the Mining World, so I was wondering if I should pick her up because of the Mythic Merge. I was maybe thinking that maybe it would be a good idea just so that we could maybe at some point get to max score in Astra season. That would be interesting. But, you know, right now I got 2 or at least 1 Mythic at +5 in Vale, and then Thor at +4. I'd need at least one of them would have to be +10, and I don't know when that would ever happen. So, I don't know. But for now, we're cruising. Plan here, we're going to take out Sigurd since he has the most reach, and he's the only other unit with swap or positional assist. So once we get rid of Sigurd, it's pretty much GG's. We just gotta wait and see who pops out a little hole, and yeah, we shouldn't have any problems there. Kind of messed up here with because Lynn needs to be in that spot, but then also triangle attack is away from her, but it should be fine. She's still gonna get 3 attacks into Sigurd, and it should still be enough to take him out, so not too much of a problem, I don't think. So from here, we're just gonna get going and take care of it on turn 2 onwards. and then that should be it. I really didn't expect to be able to use this team at all because I don't think it's that great. There's no enemy phase. This is a pure player phase team. There's nothing here to keep me safe aside from just me making sure my positioning is fantastic and that I'm reading the enemy team's movement, making sure that I'm paying attention to their threat ranges and staying outside of the threat range that the potential that the enemy team has. And then also we can try to figure out what will be that extra unit and deal with that when that comes up. But there's really nothing here that has like an enemy phase, so I can't really depend on any of these units to tank anything. They're pretty much all glass. So yeah, I didn't expect to use this team because I was like thinking that it just wouldn't be playable, but it's early on in the week, so that's probably the reason why. It's first day actually, so that's why, I guess. And then as we go on, I don't think it'll be that great later on in the week, but then probably we'll have better units by that point, so it won't be that big of a deal. Not better units, but better team compositions. I just put this together because I couldn't figure out what else to use. Chrom doesn't need to be here because Chrom is on other teams. Chrom is like everywhere for me this season. So Chrom doesn't really need to be here. He's only here because he just has great matchups. I guess Lynn doesn't even need to be here, to be honest, but it's Lynn, and she does the thing. So we're just going to let her do that and then rock out. I mean, I don't know how much longer we're going to... Well, to be honest, I think she'll last way longer than Celica, primarily because she doesn't have to move. And Celica would have had to warp up there and then, sacrifice herself, which is not great. Ooh. All right. Is this hopefully not Celica ring? Okay, that's the worst scenario. Alright, so the problem here is we gotta get rid of this Felix. And also Athos here has the Lin ring, so I gotta take care of that as well. But we really gotta take care of this Felix. He is a big problem for my team. I think I got something here. Like I was saying, this team doesn't have any enemy phase, and we're kind of like on the opposite side of the map, so to get over there is going to be a little bit challenging, but we're going to have to figure something out to deal with this Felix here, because he can pretty much force the surrender here. If I can't get over there and take him out, or if I get over there and I can't kill him, then that's GG's. Probably going to have to depend on Chrom. I think Chrom can probably do it, but I don't see a way that I can get Chrom up there without warping, so that's an automatic loss. I feel like we can get rid of
you have my all.
Athos here because we're pretty close. Just need the extra hits that we can get in from the triangle attack.
I can do this.
Yeah, let's play like that. I think that's the best way to go about this. Just gotta figure out how to get Veil over there, and then what will Veil do when she's there also. Yeah, a couple of things to think about here. Hold on. Yo, it is crazy that this old man is actually surviving against Lynn. This is even without Leguzfren 4, which is actually, I upgraded mine. I was considering giving him Leguzfren 4, but then I was like, he's not really enemy phasing a ton of stuff, and he does fairly well in terms of just surviving in the enemy phase, so I don't think it's really necessary. I decided to go with more offensive power. I gave him a Cultist Strike. Just for the extra damage output, because I decided to give him Canta Control finally, so he has that now, and yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with the build. I'm actually wondering if he's going to be a bonus unit in the SDS that's upcoming for this week, because I haven't actually figured and put him in and build any teams around him, so don't know how that'll go. I really wonder who the bonus units are going to be for this SDS. That should be interesting. So yeah, we're gonna get the KO here because there's no way he was gonna live 5 hits, but it's also like, this is pretty, like 31 times 5, and it actually, I think, well, it definitely took more than 3 hits to get the KO because I had 3 hits and I wasn't getting him below 18, so yeah, that's all 5 hits to kill this man. That's crazy, and I have weapon triangle advantage. That is insane. But yeah, now we got to figure out how to get Felix off the map, who is in the worst position possible. I can do this and then pop the dance, and then you can see what I'm trying to build up there, but I'm concerned if Chrom will be able to do it or not. So that's what we got. But I mean, that aside, yeah, I was saying I'm kind of wondering who the bonus units will be for this season. I have no idea of who will be there for SDS, since we're going into Chaos season next week, and for some reason Freya is bonus, which is, I'm like, why Freya? And then the defense is Kavessa, which, I mean, she's not like the worst. If you have her invested, you can definitely get some mileage out of her. It'll be interesting to see what hers and Goldflake's Refine will be, because they have a ton of pierceable damage reduction. Kavessa's problem was triggering her special, so I'm sure they'll fix that with her Refine. The problem is damage output and survivability. I don't think they'll go too much into the survivability aspect of it for either of them, but I'm pretty sure that they'll pump up the damage out. I guess Brave Golvek's Refine this year will give us some insight of what IS is thinking when it comes to the mythic versions of her. All of them are her, so we'll see where that goes, but I feel like we're at least getting more true damage from that, which will be interesting as well for Brave Golvek, since her B slot is where her extraction is. So I don't know if they'll give her Refine that plays into that, or if it's going to be something that has to be scrapped. Looking at what they did recently with what's her face, Tiki, Harmonic Tiki, how they just gave her entire C skill in her weapon, which is like, that's insane. That's literally insane. And they just tucked on a few pieces on there as well, just to give her some extra supportive capabilities. This is kind of bad. He's getting the full Felix is getting the full effects out of his clash there, so we're just not being able to take him out here because he's outspeeding us. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to do here.
All right.
This is make or break time. I was actually planning to dance Chrom to get him out of there once he was able to get the KO, but it doesn't look like Chrom can even initiate. So we're going to have to see what Lyn can do here. If I remember correctly, I don't think we used her style effect this turn, so maybe, but it's going to be down to whether or not she wins the speed check. Well, I'm sure with Potent, she should at least be able to get 2 attacks in, so pretty sure that should be, but I wasn't even thinking of using the dance on Lyn. So it was this is kind of working out in my favor, the fact that I repositioned her here, because she would have been stuck over there, and we would have been in a bad situation. Let's go here. This should be safe in case we need to warp. Okay, so we won the speed check. Okay, oh, thank God. Alright, so this means we don't have to go up there, and we won't get stuck, and then I can position properly, and I think this is GG's. We won the game from here. Alright, yeah, let's take the biggest problem unit off the board, and then we can work around everyone else from here. It should be fine. Yeah, man. Again, I've joined the dark side, man. This is what we're doing. I think this might be it for this week. We'll see how the rest of the week pans out, but so far this is what it's looking like, and I can't. You know, it's fun. I don't know how to say it. It's fun. That aside, I was talking about Harmonic Tiki. And I actually think there's a unit in there. Like, she's given me shades of Lilith. I was really hoping they would have given her Lilith's warping capability, support partner warping, in her Refine. But I mean, there's a lot of text in that Refine, so I'm sure it looks like they couldn't find a space to put it. But I feel like there's a unit there in that Harmonic Tiki if you have her invested. Typically what they like to do a lot is those units that are like not the most popular, and they didn't get pulled a lot, they like to sometimes give them good refines to increase their desirability. So I was thinking that that's what they would do with this Tiki. She wasn't bad with Harmonic Tiki. She wasn't like bad. She usually did a ton of damage back when I was using her. She was always hitting for like 99, so I'm pretty sure she's capable of doing something similar. I just haven't tested it yet because it looks like, well, more than likely she's going to need an upgraded kit, and I don't know what that kit's going to look like. I'm planning to bring her into like SD, because I was just going through my flyers, and I was really disappointed with the flyers that I have. I mean, most of them don't do anything aside from offer stats or give themselves stats. They don't offer any form of support, which means that you have to give them guidance unless they already have it. But the majority of flyers that are in the game, aside from, I want to boil it down to Seteth, I want to boil it down to legendary, not Hinoka, Elencia, legendary Elencia. Yeah, the majority of the rest of them, Hinoka, I guess you could say, but Hinoka has a C skill that you can't remove, so not really the greatest to be bringing into SD. But the rest of them, they are like not the best in terms of providing you with support, especially the type of support that I'm looking for. I feel like every mage flyer is doing some type of exposure debuff, and it's like it's so much overlap. There's nothing like unique really about a lot of them. A lot of them are like just copy like different blue, red, and green versions of the same unit. So it's really been difficult to try to figure out what to do about, because you do need, like, SD is a game mode where you need mobility, and flyers are like the main source of that mobility, unless you want to run like Ash or something. And I kind of don't have an invested Ash, so I didn't really want to go that direction. So I've been looking more at my flyers, and I just haven't been satisfied with the ones that I have, man. It's not, I was like actually looking to see if I could remove Hearthfolder's C skill just so that I could give her Soaring Echo or Soaring Guidance, because I feel like she'd be decent in that role, but it's not possible. There's so much in that C skill that Hearthfolder has. And then looking at the rest of them, the rest of them are just like so selfish. Like I'm looking at Harmonic Anna, Hoshiden Mia. She's really selfish. All of her effects are for herself. And then even like the triangle attack stuff, I mean, it's great and all, but there are situations where you just don't want triangle attack, and you just would rather have, you know, the stats. Like looking at like defense, probably not the greatest thing right now to have that effect. Aside from triangle attack, you want your unit, like Seteth offers so many stats, and I'm really just, I feel like it all boils down to just Seteth is amazing, and I can't find anyone to replace him. I think that's really the problem. But yeah, I was looking at that Tiki, and I feel like there's a unit in there. You just gotta give her enough support to make her a little bit more offensive. She's not gonna be tanking anything, I don't think so, but you can definitely get her to kill things, and I feel like that's where her playstyle is gonna lie, especially with the Kanto 2, and the fact that you could probably give her some sort of aerial maneuvers, plus maybe barricade as well. I feel like there's a unit in there. I just gotta figure out a way to get it to work, or actually just test it out and see what her damage output is like, and then I can start building from there. This Ather is kind of blocking me in a way, but I'm hoping that the strap isn't real so that we can just step on it and go over and get the last spot, which it's too early in the week to be dropping pots. It's the first day, gotta get both of them. But yeah, that's just what I've been thinking when it comes to some SD stuff. All of my teams I feel are pretty much set up. I'm just going to be doing some final testing for the openings to see if, you know, they actually work, and then we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be an interesting SDS season. Ton of fun there.
I can do this.
Definitely going to get the kill here. We're going to let Lynn take it out, even though she has Aegis. She just doesn't have any friends. This Ather left. Yeah, she's going to take a ton of damage here because she has no friends left. Yeah, that's about what we expected. Alright, man. GG's. It's been a fun start to the week. Let's see what we end up with. Looking forward to the Legendary banner as well. Should be in a couple of days by the time this comes out.